Jean Cheek. Thank you for joining. Yes, I'm so excited you guys are on. It is, hello there, Brittany. Hello, so glad to have you here. I'm gonna wait a few seconds for some people to come in. But today we are talking, hi Portia. Today we're talking about the conscious parent. But for those of you that have not been following, hi, my name is Brooke-Sidney and my company is called Bella and the Babe, and it's all about empowering authentic mothering. And one of the things that I'm doing just as a free service for my viewers and my followers. Oh, Portia says, I've missed you on here. Yes, it's been a crazy week with the Labor Day holiday. So, and I've been actually practicing balancing priorities and self-care. So this week has been a slower week for me. But thank you so much for the hearts. So again, my name is Brooke-Sidney. My site is bellaandthebabe.com. I'm really excited that you all are here. Today we're talking about The Conscious Parent, this lovely book that I have here by Dr. Shefali Tsabary. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks now, and we're in chapter 5. Yes, we're already in chapter 5. And just so you know, I'll be covering 4 key points today. And if something that I am saying resonates with you, you like it, it makes you think, it makes you pause and say, please, please give me some hearts. Just tap, tap, tap on your screen. I am on a goal to increase my heart count. I would love to reach 100,000 hearts. So tap, tap, tap away if this message resonates with you, because that is the awesome currency of Periscope. So today, Portia says, let's heart her up, girl. Thank you so much. So today we are talking about what emotional messages are you sending to your children? And so I figured what I would do with this scope is really just lay down the background of conscious parenting and what that even means as it relates to your children. So conscious parenting basically means that when we interact with our children, we kind of ask ourselves, am I dealing with my child in an aware manner, or am I being triggered by my past and my own pain? So we are really looking at the place of how are we interacting with our children in a very aware place. Thank you so much for the hearts. You know, conscious parenting, which is some of the reason why some people don't like it. Hi, non-superwoman, thank you for joining, is because with conscious parenting, you really focus on the parents. Hi, hello. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, with conscious parenting, it's not like a quick fix where we're going to just try to stop a certain behavior. Conscious parenting is all about creating a connection with our children and being conscious of how we are contributing to our children's behavior and our children's lives. So the focus is always on the parents. So that's a little hard to hear for some parents. But it really requires us to look within and ask ourselves, what am I bringing to this relationship right now in this moment that is mine, and what is not my child's to receive, right? So it's a different concept, and a lot of people think that it's, you know, something completely that it's not. It's all about basically parents figuring out what is theirs to own and their junk and not putting it on their children so that we can have great authentic relationships with our kids. So that's kind of a little bit about the background. So I have 3 key points that I'm going to cover in this scope today. The first one is emotions are seen in our energy. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of people think that you only experience emotions when people are basically just verbalizing them, or they're reacting to the emotions. Like, you know that they're angry, they're acting angry, they're people are, in the worst case scenarios, maybe throwing stuff or yelling. Like, that's when we really think we see emotions. But that's not necessarily true. It's partly true. Hi, Ms. Myra, thanks for joining. But we also see emotions basically in our energy. So think about it like this. Our consciousness and our unconsciousness is transmitted not only by our overt pain, but also in the energy we exude in our presence, even when we say or do nothing. So even though you might be sitting there thinking, I'm not yelling at my kids, I'm not doing anything, I'm they don't have any idea that I'm upset. That is not true, because we give off certain vibes and certain energy. You can even think of it as simply as nonverbal communication. There's a study at UCLA that people often misuse and blow out of proportion, thanks for the hearts, that 93% of all communication is nonverbal, and that means 7% is verbal. Now, whether or not 93% is accurate or true, there's other studies that show that it's like 55%. So we know that the majority, somewhere between 55% and 93% of our communication that we give off is nonverbal. This is easy to understand when we think about the emotions that we are harboring. If we are walking around upset, troubled, challenged, thanks to an army for joining. If we're around with these emotions that we haven't dealt with, they are in our presence. We are giving off that energy. We are giving off that vibe, and our children can feel it. It's the same thing, and you all know this. Like especially for those of us that have spouses or people that have had roommates, like when they were in college or whatever, you could walk into the house and you could tell when there was something going on. You could tell if that person was mad or angry just by how the room felt. That is the same way that our children can pick up on the emotions that we are feeling. Emotions can be unseen. So a lot of people think it's no big deal. Why should I care or worry about this? It's because whether we are conscious of them or not conscious, and by that I mean aware or unaware of them, we contribute to their well-being by the emotions that we carry around with us. So that's why I feel like it's so important for us to understand what our emotions are doing in our lives right now. So our children are super aware of how it feels to be in our presence when we sit in silence with them. Portia says emotions can be felt by our nonverbals. Exactly, Portia. That's exactly it. They can. And a lot of times, a lot of people I know are like, I'm not emotional. I don't say anything to my children. I don't lash out. It doesn't matter. You could have a hateful spirit. You can have a closed off spirit. You can be, your energy can be distancing. You can put, I know you all have felt this, right? And our children, they may not have the words to articulate these feelings, but they feel it, they live it, and they internalize it. And so, they can feel in our presence when we sit in silence with them that what is going on in our heart and our heads. And so I really want us to think about that as we parent, right? I want us to be aware if what we're giving out is an energy of like acceptance or rejection, right? Are we giving out an energy that makes them feel like they can come to us and talk to us? Or are we giving out an energy or a spirit that is distancing, pushing away? I don't have time. I don't feel like dealing with you right now. It doesn't even have to be that I'm angry. It could just be like, I don't want to deal with you, right? Like apathy is, some people argue apathy is as bad as anger. So it's really, really important to be conscious, or another word for conscious is aware of our feelings, right? So the next thing, the second point, is that we want to face up to our reactivity. A lot of people think, especially with emotions, someone made me feel this way. When something happens to her, Ms. Myers says, eye opener, now I feel guilty. No, do not feel guilty. Non-superwoman, even toddlers pick up on what we're giving out. Exactly. So Myra, first thing, do not feel guilty. This discussion is actually not to feel guilty, shame, none of those things. It is actually just to make us aware, because that is really the first step. Like even being aware of it, we are less likely to do it because awareness is first of it. And for non-superwoman, yes, you are so right. I think, and there actually, to be quite honest, the smaller the children, the more that they don't kind of have a filter. So yeah, everyone's telling you don't feel guilty. Thank you, Admired Red Rose, for joining. Yes, so the smaller they are, toddlers, even like infants, they all pick up on this. They don't have a filter, they don't have is what people call the ego. They don't have that. They're just they're just there, they're just sponges. So they are so receptive to how we are feeling and thinking and what we say and what we put out there. So back to the point was that we want to face up to our reactivity. You know, our children don't make us feel a certain way. They're merely awakening unresolved pain or issues that are in us from our childhood. You know, it's really important to think, like, a lot of times when we get angry with our children, it's not so much that they did a particular thing. Thank you, Admire Red Rose, for sharing. It's not so much that they did anything to us, but it's triggering something that may have been done to us in our past, or something that we might just be going through right now that has nothing to do with our children. So it's really important to think about the fact that, thanks so much for the hearts. Yes, if I'm saying something that's making sense, please give me hearts. I actually finally set a heart goal. I've just been on delivering content and not worrying about hearts, but you know, hearts are fun and they definitely make the speaker feel like what we're saying is valuable. But again, our children really are not making us feel a certain way, right? We are choosing to feel or react in a certain way, but the emotion that's feeling when our children are behaving a certain way is actually uncovering an inner pain that we have. Usually that's not from them. And then the third and final point, because I have made a decision to keep my scopes more smaller and bite-sized, because there's a lot of information packed into these. But the third point is that we all have an emotional signature or imprint. Now, this one I feel like is really kind of deep. So we inherit certain egoic scripts and roles from our family of origin, like the way our parents, you know, dealt with their emotions, the way they dealt with us. You know, we get basically an emotional signature from that. You know, beneath every role and script is what we have, like this basically unique emotional imprint. Now, I've talked about this in earlier, Admire Red Rose says yes. I've talked about this in almost every scope related to conscious parenting because it shows up in very different ways. So we as individuals that become parents, we usually parent how we were parented. So whatever that is, good, bad, ugly, the in-between, that's what we bring in, because as we just talked about, as infants and as children, we absorb the teachings, the lessons, the emotions that were given to us from our parents. So that's what we learn. That's what we know to be true, right? So along with that, we get generational emotional signatures. That's how Dr. Shefali talks about it. But you can also think of it as generational curses, like all these different things that come upon us by our parents and our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents, because all of this type of thinking and behavior and responses, especially when they're reactive, are passed down. It's inherited thinking. It's inherited feelings. It's inherited believing, right? And so it's important to really understand that. And that's why, you know, to Myra and all the other people, there's no shame in this. There's definitely no shame in this. Some of this is we just inherited it. This is what we have been taught. This is what we know until we know and learn something different. And so it's important that we don't feel bad, because that's not what any of this is about. It's just recognizing it and becoming aware so that we can parent from a different place. I think I already talked about this again, but this is so important when we think about our children, because we are setting their emotional imprint at this moment. You know, when they're small, they're even more receptive. But it doesn't matter if you have a teenager. It's never too late. They're always listening, even though it may not look like they're listening. But it's so important that we think about our emotions and our children. So I just want to recap. Basically, again, conscious parenting is basically thinking about, where are we operating from? Are we operating from our own pain? Or are we in a place where we can respond freely to our children, right? That's all that it is. I could call it awareness parenting. You know, she has this clever book entitled Conscious Parenting, but it's really all about being aware of your role as a parent, being aware of what you are bringing to each parenting interaction, right? To build connection with your children. And looking and asking yourself the question, am I being triggered here? Is this something from my past that I'm bringing? So that's the first thing. That was kind of the background. And then the second one was that emotions are seen in our energy. So just remember, you know, even if you're not lashing out, even if you're not saying something in particular, you know, that may seem hurtful, even if, you know, God forbid, you're throwing something or anything like that where you're actually overtly showing your pain. If you're carrying around things, and we all are, just know that it's in our energy and it's in our spirit and it comes out. It comes out non-verbal all of the time. So, and our children pick up all the non-verbal things. Portia said, this is what I'm going to start becoming aware of. Oh, great, Portia. Thank you. Yes, and so am I. And I want us each to encourage each other in this path, right, of having a more aware or conscious parenting model. And so then the third thing is to face up to your reactivity. Amira Rose says, shared on Twitter and Facebook, your scopes are going to help me be a better granny. Oh, I love you, Admired Res Rose. You are so sweet to me. I'm so thankful for you for coming onto my scopes. You have no idea. But anyway, thank you again. So you want to face up to your reactivity. Just own it that your emotions get you upset. It's not always your kid, you know, or not always your husband, or not always your friends or work or whatever it is. Sometimes it's just stuff that you're carrying around, and no one can make you react a certain way. No one can make you feel a certain way. You choose it or you have it already inside. And then the last point was that we each have our own emotional signature and imprint. So don't feel bad if for some reason you're like, I don't know why I feel this way, or I don't know why I respond this way. You could have picked it up from your own parents or learned it somewhere along the way. The key is to be aware of it and to also think about the fact that we are imprinting and teaching our children the same ways that we feel and respond to our emotions. So I want to open it up for questions. If any of these thoughts resonated with you, I would love to have hearts. Yeah, I'm on a heart campaign now, you guys. I've gotten Periscope indoctrinated. People tell me I need to be asking more for hearts, so I don't know. But I have a goal to reach 100,000. Woohoo, yay. But I'm so really thankful to connect with you all on this medium. I really enjoy it. I can't tell you enough. So if you want to connect more, please feel free. If you want to talk more about the conscious parenting, please join my mama community. Oh, Portia says we're going to get you to 100,000. Thank you. Tap, tap, tap. But if you want to join my mother community, I have one on Facebook. It is completely free. You can join it. You go to my website, which is bellandthebabe.com/join, and you can sign up there. That's where the discussion continues after the scope. It's the after scope discussion, all about conscious parenting, but also about encouragement for mothers, sharing resource tips and tools, our wins for the week. It's just a fun way to connect with other mothers and continue talking about this stuff, because this stuff is not easy. And feel free to, visit my site. And if you're watching this on the replay, know that you can give hearts there too. You can tap, 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 all the way up to, I think, 500 hearts. So thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to talking with you soon, and stay tuned for part 2 on emotions and conscious parenting. Thank you so much. Rena Rogers watched her. It's really good. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Thanks so much for the